everyone, K3DXD here. I'm Skylar.
I'm Brian.
We'll be doing our first video, which is going to be what if Naruto was adopted by Hiruzen Sarutobi, also known as the Third Hokage, and the god of shinobi, and, well, let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So, we open up with the Night of the Nine Tails attack. The Night of the Nine Tails attack goes just like in canon, with Naruto being born to Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. We still have Minato fighting off against Obito, also known as Madara Uchiha, as of that moment. Minato still sacrifices himself using the Shikifuin seal to seal away the Nine Tails. At the end of it, Hiruzen is walking up on the bodies of Minato and Kushina. And in this, we'll just say that Minato has a bit more breath in him and a bit more life. And Kushina has already passed away after having the Nine Tails extracted and everything else. So, as Hiruzen arrives, Minato looks over at him and says, "Hiruzen, could you please take Naruto in? Protect him, have him seen as the hero he should be, and is." And Hiruzen does swear on his honor as the third Hokage. Minato does then pass away, sadly, and Naruto is then picked up by Hiruzen, and Hiruzen does take the bodies of Minato and Kushina, seal it away, and goes to his office. About a week passes, not a week, about, 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days pass as the village is now starting to recover. Hiruzen is sworn back in as the third Hokage, and the bodies of Kushina and Minato have been destroyed, since no information of those two should be given out at all. Hiruzen is sitting inside of his office, doing paperwork, and waiting for the council meeting to happen, as one of the Anbu, with a dog mask, is sitting in the office, taking care of Naruto, giving it a bottle of milk. Hiruzen then hears the window open as someone walks in. Hiruzen looks up to see one of his 3 students, being Jiraiya of the Sannin. Jiraiya says, "Hey, old man," and does look very solemn and upset, showing actually red eyes from crying. Hiruzen then looks up at a student and does ask him what he's doing here. Jiraiya simply states that he's back in the village to offer some support and some information about what happened that night, telling them that he couldn't find much other than simple footprints of where Minato was fighting outside of the village. Any questions so far? Okay. Other than that, Hiruzen asks if he can take Naruto. Jiraiya says no and promptly leaves. Hiruzen does curse Jiraiya a bit, but he understands that Jiraiya needs time to relax and calm down, simply because he's mourning the death of one of his students that he pretty much saw as a son. He looks over at Kakashi, knowing that Kakashi is, was Minato's student, the Anbu in the dog mask. Kakashi's too young to take in Naruto simply because he's 14 years old and an Anbu. He couldn't really take care of Naruto properly. That leaves himself, and that is it. He wants to have the trust in the people, but he already has people saying they want the death of the Jinchuriki, simply because he already mentioned to the people that, Naruto's the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Or, at least Naruto was the one that the Nine Tails was sealed inside of. And Hiruzen is thinking until the council meeting is called. Hiruzen gets up and heads to the council. As he walks into the council, is already an uproar of screaming from the civilian side, the shinobi side trying to calm everyone down, and the entire elders just being completely quiet except for Danzo, who's staring at Hiruzen walking in. As Hiruzen sits down in his seat, everyone's still bickering until Hiruzen releases his killing intent and tells everyone everyone to be quiet, using a very stern in his Hokage voice. Everyone is completely silent at that moment, and Hiruzen says, "Now, we will begin with the civilian sides of this question. Why has this meeting been called?" The civilian side, the speaker for the civilian side, unknown character, speaks up saying that they are here to talk about the damages and want the death of the Jinchuriki. Hiruzen immediately...
during war or something like that?
No. Hold on, guys. Anyway, guys, back to it. Hiruzen immediately states that the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, also known as Naruto, will not be killed. And Hiruzen says, now, as we were talking about, the damages will be fixed. Some of the money from the village will be headed to the community to fix up all the buildings and all that. And another one of the council says, why can't we kill the child? And Hiruzen says, because I said not to. Hiruzen is still trying to figure out what to do with Naruto. And that's when Danzo Shimura speaks up, saying that he'll take the boy in and train him to be the perfect weapon for the village. And Danzo is starting to get backing from the civilian side, except for the shinobi side, who are completely against it. Hiruzen is thinking of a way to basically undermine Danzo, and Danzo is continuously getting support from the civilian side, which is about to outrank everybody, or at least outrank the shinobi side, until Hiruzen says no, because I will be taking Naruto in myself to train him properly. That kind of silences everyone, and one of the other people of the council, again from the civilian side, says, but Hokage-sama. He says, Hokage-sama, why are you doing it? Shouldn't it be someone from this council? And Hiruzen says, mainly because I do not trust anybody in this council to train Naruto the right way. You will simply see him as a tool and nothing more, not a child that he is. Right. And the civilian side goes to argue that he's not a child, he's simply just a demon. And that civilian promptly gets his head chopped off by an Anbu. This Anbu being Kakashi that has walked in with a baby Naruto. Some of the civilians start screaming that the demon has already taken control of one of the Anbu, and Hiruzen says no, that is simply the Anbu that is his guard. And I will be enacting a new law. Anyone who calls Naruto a demon to his face, or at all, or promptly speaks about him being the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails, will be killed and executed without any legal action taken. And that silences the council. The council is then adjourned after a 4-hour-long meeting, and Hiruzen heads back to his desk. After heading back to his desk, he has Kakashi continuously watch over Naruto for the rest of the night. The next day, Hiruzen wakes up in his Hokage manner and begins to think about what to do with Naruto, other than train him to become the best child he knows. Hiruzen thinks and thinks and thinks for a little while until he finally comes up with an idea. He comes up with the idea to train Naruto to become the next Hokage. If not the 5th, the 6th Hokage. So we skip about 4 years. In those 4 years, Hiruzen has mostly just been raising Naruto along with some other people. These people basically being like wet nurses for Naruto to be, well, breastfed. Naruto is also taken care of in the physical department by, well, Hiruzen. Hiruzen mostly takes care of Naruto to increase his intelligence. Basically, he sits Naruto down and has him relax, drink, and read a book at a very young age to get his, I guess, IQ up? I don't know. Basically, Hiruzen just sits down with Naruto to make him more calm, less energetic. To basically, when training is involved, Naruto can use all that energy to train and stop just wasting energy. And at the age of 4, Naruto is then introduced to chakra control training. Chakra control training is simply just Naruto learning to stick a leaf to him, which is probably going to take him a little while because of Naruto's huge chakra reserves and him being the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails that can disrupt his chakra control. It takes Hiruzen about 3 weeks to train Naruto to stick about 5 leaves to his body. And then after that, Naruto then begins to learn the tree walking exercise, which takes him about a month to learn, simply because he is still a child. Naruto then learns the water walking exercise because Hiruzen wants to make sure Naruto has expert chakra control. He's still a child and needs to learn chakra control properly. After about a whole 3 months, Naruto is able to do the water walking, tree walking, and the leaf exercise all properly. Now, we cut to really Hiruzen getting into Naruto's taijutsu training. This is a little thing I'm going to pause real quick. So, with Naruto's unpredictability in the canon timeline, that'll still carry over for Naruto in this timeline. Basically, Hiruzen is going to train Naruto to use the monkey style and probably learn the monkey summoning technique. So, if any of you have, questions about that, you can either look it up later.
I will do that.
Huh?
Yes, I will do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have questions.
Yeah. And other than that, Hiruzen then begins to teach Naruto the fundamentals of the village. Basically, the will of fire, basically the history of the Hidden Leaf Village, from the very beginning to the very present. And it takes Naruto about 4 years to learn this. Or not 4 years. 3 years to learn this. So we skip to when Naruto is 7. And in those 3 years, Naruto also learns how to do finances, learns how to be basically like a Hokage. He's a Hokage in training. He is also trained to basically he's also trained in jutsu. Basically, these jutsu tend to be his main element, which is wind. He's trained in wind, water, lightning, earth, and fire. Mainly because Hiruzen Sarutobi is the master of all. He's mastered all the Hidden Leaf techniques. He can train Naruto to learn any technique. I believe Hiruzen would also train Naruto into learning Fuin Jutsu, mainly because Hiruzen himself knows the sealing techniques, the sealing arts, and because it's in his blood, being Minato and Kushina Uzumaki both used sealing techniques. And while I'm also on that subject, I will also say that Hiruzen probably told Naruto about who his mother is, along with his father. The reason I say this is because Hiruzen trusts Naruto. He's raised Naruto for all of his life, and I believe Hiruzen would trust Naruto not to tell anybody that his father is the 4th Hokage. He would also have probably trusted Naruto into knowing that he is the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and pretty much that's it. For the next year before the academy, Naruto also is trained in genjutsu, mainly dispelling and applying certain genjutsus. Naruto would not be able to properly use genjutsus in a fight, but if he were to do like a genjutsu-like test, he would be able to perform well in it. Other than that, we'll probably cut off here, mainly because this is going to be a first what if, see how it does. And again, we will probably go into more description. Yeah. We will go into more description while in the academy years. I'm just going over base information real quick, just to get you understanding that Naruto is probably going to be a little bit more powerful than most students in the academy. The base information about Naruto is that he's still the unpredictable person he is. We will also go over the description of Naruto's character later on in the academy and in part 2. Naruto's information is that he knows about probably a few jutsu that we will discuss in the next part as well. That'll be in the first half of the video. We will also go over Naruto's strength, his weaknesses, and possibly information he knows. I will say this beforehand, Naruto being trained by the third Hokage, who's been around for 3 Shinobi World Wars, probably has a lot of information. Hiruzen served in 2 of them, while also survived the first one. I will also say another thing is Naruto's tactics will be very next level and all that. So if any questions come up, please write them in the comments, I guess. Any other questions?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, I guess. See you all later.